Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad. He's Matt, I'm Blake, here we go.
Thank you, Blake, for that intro that you just said right now. That just happened. It was not pre-recorded. We're going to talk about the Rush rumors. Basically, Geddy is doing a book tour. He has an autobiography out. I was looking into it. They're like theater gigs, talking and reading and stuff. Because I was like, oh, that'll be a thing that'll be less expensive and easier to get tickets to than like a show. And I was like, nope, no, it won't. And so I'm not going to that, but I will read the book. I think I got it like pre-ordered on Audible because I love to, if a musician reads their own autobiography, that is my preferred form of consumption. Like Steve Lukather's was amazing. I have
I don't even need to listen. I can hear it. I can hear a good half so of it in my head.
I have Rob Halford's queued up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Dio's was not read by him, but in my head I could still hear the voice. But
checks out. The real question is, Geddy has a show on Paramount Plus.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to check that out too. Crap, I should have.
I think it's something to the effect of "Our Bassist Human 2?" Because I think he's hanging out with Rob Trujillo, Melissa Aufdermeyer, what's his face? Primus, Les Claypool, and I did not catch who the other guy was.
Chris Novoselic of Nirvana.
Oh,
yeah. So okay. Yeah. So yeah, I've been meaning to check that out. That's a good call. We should do a separate episode just discussing that once we have a chance to watch it. If you plan to, I don't know. I do because I will watch Geddy.
I will have to use up a free week of Paramount Plus because I don't pay for that.
I see. But I'm excited about the book, and I would definitely watch him hang out and play bass and stuff. So that'll be cool. So the issue is in one of these interviews, because people always ask him like, "Would you and Alex ever blah blah blah? Would you ever consider playing music as Rush again?" And then like he said like, I don't know, maybe, or some shit. I like, he just sort of was like casually like, maybe, who knows if Alex is up for it. Been a long time since they've they got together for the Taylor Hawkins tribute concerts, and so they technically played together there with another drummer, but like it is one of those bands where they always said it would never really be Rush without the three of them.
Right.
So I have a feeling they would like give it like a cheeky name. It'd be really funny if they called it like a Rush tribute band or something.
Yeah, I could see that working.
But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did something just because why not? And but like I don't think there's any plans to. Just somebody asked and he didn't say shut the fuck up. He wasn't like next question. Like that's honestly the appropriate response to that kind of thing. Because like apparently I guess Alex had some health or like medical stuff going on, so he was saying like he would have to be well in the first place. It was literally just I wouldn't rule it out, and people were like, get online and tell everybody Rush is back. And so and like all the people like us are like, it's content time.
Oh god, it's been all over the internet, and I'm happy to continue the trend. It's a fun trend. It's Rush. Everyone wants more Rush. Yes,
of course. Geddy Lee, best bass player.
Rush without Neil, but it's Rush.
Right.
We want more Rush. Damn it.
And I mean, Geddy's singing, kind of like wasn't where it used to be in the last tours. So it was fine. It was good enough. Like they went out on a good note with the last tour, which is why it would maybe be a shame if they did something and it wasn't as good as that. But
sure.
I don't care, man. Like if they want to, I'm probably not going to like pay Rush ticket prices to go see two. Well, it would make. Oh, that's what
would you go see? Would you pay Rush ticket prices if it was a Rush and Friends kind of thing? Maybe. Like Ringo Starr and his all-star band. Here's Ringo, who's washed and was never all that good, with a shitload of people who are or were pretty great.
Yeah.
I would see that. Absolutely, I would see that. I don't know
no,
who would be on it.
If there was extra star power for sure. And but
gotta bring up the Toto thing again. Get Toto on stage with get Steve.
Well, Luke Lukather's he plays in Ringo's All-Star Band.
That's my point. Get Luke on band with Alex and see if we can't hash out that shit we mentioned a few episodes back.
I was skeptical that happened, but you know what? I read an article the other day where Geddy was like at one point we were doing so much cocaine, and I was like, you were what now?
Yeah, I didn't realize that. That's
right. It was just like, yeah, no, we just like.
Well, they were hanging out with Toto, so
yeah. Well, it was like we just handled it better. Like he's like, no, we did drugs and stuff too. We just handled it better and didn't like let our lives fall apart. And I was like,
they're Canadian.
You know what?
Better healthcare.
Let's go. But that was pretty funny because he was just like, yeah, you know what? At one point, doing a lot of like, okay. He said it was because like all the the amount of shows they were doing and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, sure, man, whatever.
Sure. Well.
But
unfortunately lends credibility to Luke's story, but I still
right. That was the problem. I was like, oh no, maybe they did do that, because if it was during that period and they were like, pull the plug, like right? I really doubt it, but who knows?
Or everyone was way the fuck too high on coke and some roadie fucking tripped over a cord, and everybody came up with different stories about it.
Yes,
that's the most possible. Likely.
That was a big recurring theme in Luke's book was, I can't be sure exactly how this went down because I was doing a lot of coke at the time, but
the point stands. So that what I was saying about the Rush and Friends thing kind of leans into another thing that we talked about, and I think is one of the most important things here. Even if they don't do a Rush and Friends, if Rush is going to play again, who is going to play drums?
Right. We need to irresponsibly speculate
Absolutely.
about who could play drums for them, and more importantly, who has the best search engine optimization.
Oh God, yes.
Who can I put in the title of this video?
Well, I mean, if we want to be topical, right. Jay Weinberg just got fired from Slipknot.
Jay Weinberg,
clearly the perfect musician fit for Rush is the Slipknot guy.
Look, I don't even know how good he is, because I have
no idea. Because they have like 10 percussionists. I'm sure he's fine. And they used to have a very good drummer, and he died. So I don't know if that guy filled in.
He's probably not terrible, but
I'm sure he's fine.
And he's Max Weinberg's son. But
well, there you go.
But Max. I don't know if he's Rush good.
Yeah, get Max. Same correct age group. It'll be fine.
I guess.
What's Max doing?
I don't know. Does Max play like that though? I don't know if.
Hard to say. Maybe get both. Get both the Weinbergs.
Have them trade off. Take turns.
Neither of you is pert, so there are two of you, and you can try to keep up.
Yes, and but the other newly available one, of course, is Mike Mangini. But I feel like he definitely handle the material technically.
But we talked about and we speculated about more wild conjecture.
Speculation about non-technical issues. Well, or you were saying like possibly like physical wear and tear.
And if there's anything to that, I don't know if there is. It's one thing I read. If there's anything to that, there's no way he could do Peart. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I have a feeling even if he was slowing down a little, it's probably more to do with just Mike is good PR and for the money and stuff. But Mangini also did just put out a whole solo album, so I can't imagine it's like a slow.
No, I'm sure he's not dead, but
easy solo. But yeah, I mean,
there's also studio album versus live playing, and
that's true. So I'm sure you could get something down in the studio. I feel like they would actually do better. They need somebody who is known, in addition to being super technical, for having some sort of solid style. Like I would say like maybe Marco Miniman, who tried out for Dream Theater and some people thought arguably would have been a better pick, but he was more like Mangini was like coming in like, I can play every drum hit exactly as it needs to be played, please let me join the Dream Theater. Whereas Marco was like, maybe we could play some music, guys, maybe it'd be cool. And they were like, who the fuck do you think you are? Get the fuck out of here. Fucking
100%.
Aristocrats? Get the fuck. Yeah. How dare you? Like,
guy.
This is wild speculation, of course, but it's probably true.
That's what we specialize in here. Come along for the ride.
Yeah. So,
well, I mean, I don't know Marco Bitteman, frankly. I've heard that name, but I can't remember anything he did, so I have nothing to add to that point. What I do want to bring up is another thing that we discussed. We thought, okay, this obviously has to be somebody very technical, and it also has to be somebody who has tremendous feel, and can play a lot of different stuff. And we thought, maybe it should be somebody who is younger, so they can still play the things, as opposed to being old and not being able to play them. Sure. So we had talked about Lewis Cole.
Oh yeah,
who's an incredible drummer. It's a different style of music, but I gotta believe, because that is a technical dude. I gotta believe he could at least get awfully close, and presumably with some work on the material that he could do.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a Rush fan. I feel like if he's a Rush fan,
how can he not? He's a drummer. I'm
sure he could do it. But the biggest challenge that I can think of is the great disparity in the number of drums he uses, because he's using tiny, simple kits.
That's true.
Versus because
he's recording in a bathroom.
Right. So
maybe if someone gives him some room, he'll be like, "Oh, this is fun. Look at all these things. I'm gonna hit them all."
Yeah, and he tends to he tends a little more towards jazz, but then Neil definitely had his jazz interests, and he had that whole period where he did
he's like, shit, I'm gonna turn the sticks around and drum like a jazz guy now.
Yeah. And he played all the old stuff that way too for a few years, and then at some point I think he started just splitting the difference. He was like, old stuff the old way, new stuff the new way, whatever I feel like it. And you're like, sure, whatever, dude. Go nuts.
Weird. He's allowed to do that. So I don't know who else makes sense.
Good question.
Who's available? The most logical person to have done this would have been Portnoy, of course.
Right. I was gonna say, did they it would be so if they were like, we hired Portnoy back because we were afraid he was gonna play with Rush. You need it back.
There's, as far as I'm concerned, there's probably still no reason he can't do some shows. I mean, Portnoy has always done 20,000 different things all at the same time.
And certainly, if it was not a huge commitment, if it was just a studio thing or a few shows, and I think he would be a good pick. I think he would definitely.
I think he would lobby for himself to be the pick. If I understand Portnoy at all.
I wonder, actually.
I'm sure he knows all the songs already.
Do you think he heard the rumor that they were like, maybe we would get together some with the right drummer, and he was like, damn it, why did I rejoin these fucking assholes again? Right before
I would say yes, Rush. Unequivocally yes. That's almost certainly true.
Yeah, definitely what happened.
God damn it! Now I gotta do with fucking Petrucci and this fucking guy.
Yeah, it's like, oh fuck. I've
been playing songs I like. I don't have to write them. Just hanging out, having fun. Fuck.
Yeah, I would. That would be cool. I would. I mean, again, I think someone who can play the parts, play them right.
I don't know anybody else who would be close. Those are the ones that make the most sense to me.
Yeah.
I was just actually seeing another thing, and I wait a minute, let me collect my thoughts on this. There is a Van Halen thing being worked on, which is, I guess, being spearheaded by Sammy. So interesting to start with. As far as I remember, which is not well, the lineup was going to be Sammy, Satriani, the Bonham, John Bonham's kid, little Bonham, Jason Bonham. Yeah. That's it. Which that's probably a good fit on drummer. And I don't remember if Michael Anthony was going to be involved or some other bassist. And then there was talk about Sammy had reached out to Dave, and that would be cool and do the whole thing. I think Satriani's a great pick. I don't know Jason Bonham's drumming well enough, but I don't think Alex was ever the most standout drummer in the world, so it's probably fine. That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun, and it sounds like a thing that's happening. So
yeah, look up.
If Rush could take a look at something like that and say, hey, get somebody's kid or get somebody who is just kind of out there and does things on his own, like a Satriani. I'm sure there are drummers like that I've just never heard of.
Yep.
Why
And
would
you
you?
were correct. It's Hagar, Satriani, Michael Anthony, and Jason Bonham.
Perfect.
They are calling it the best of all worlds. Loverboy is opening.
Like the best of both worlds thing.
That right. Yeah. That's cool. Also has similar music news. Did you see that Steve Vai and Satriani are touring together?
G2?
The first ever G2. Right. For the first, they made a whole thing, but like for the first time in like 35 years or however long, or 40, I don't know, it's a long ass time. The first time, just the two of us. And I was like, what does that mean? Does that mean you like, I know they're actually friends, and this is almost certainly not the case, but I'm just picturing like them not wanting to be like they need the third guy to like.
Who were the other guys that were? Was it
all of them? Like, okay,
just a bunch of different.
They did
Petrucci
so many. Okay, Petrucci did 1 year. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna assume Mr. Edward Van Halen was never in it.
I don't think so, because it's mostly instrumental stuff. Right. So I don't know if Eddie didn't really do it. Did he ever do like a whole amount of instrumental stuff though? He didn't really have like.
I mean, Eddie soloed, so
yeah, but he didn't have like pieces. He didn't have like instrumental songs. Like you can't just play Eruption for an hour. I mean, he could, but it would still sell tickets. But so okay, first one in '96, Vai, Satriani, Eric Johnson.
Oh yeah.
97, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. 98, maybe still Kenny Wayne Shepherd. It said Patrick Rondat was on Dates in France, but it doesn't sound like he was the main. Oh, because it changed. What? Oh, geez. Uli John Roth and Michael Schenker.
Oh,
in '98.
Interesting.
And they did a reunion with Eric Johnson, Satriani, Vai, and John Petrucci in 2001 to 2002, which I remember. It says John Petrucci wrote an entire set of new instrumental music for the tour. I think that might be when he wrote his first solo album, because
that would make sense.
That sounds right. Like it had just come out, and so I feel like they were like, "Listen, man, I don't know if you got the material." He was like, "I'll write it.
We'll figure it out. I'll get it. Come on, guys."
Yep. And then Malmsteen 2003. Oh shit, 2004. Robert Fripp. That was probably a weird one.
He must have been pretty well. He's still like doing stuff, but he certainly would have been
playing weird covers with his wife.
Elder statesman. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That's very interesting. I'm not sure that I would call it good, but it's interesting.
So more Petrucci, more Eric Johnson, Paul Gilbert, 2007. Oh, what the fuck? 2012, Steve Lukather?
What the fuck?
In Australia, only in Australia.
What
Why? That would have been fucking.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously.
Yuck. And Steve Morse in Europe. I thought I saw them with Steve Morse once, but maybe I'm just thinking of having seen Steve Morse and/or the Dregs open for Dream Theater or something.
Sounds plausible.
But that's cool. Oh, 2016, The Aristocrats, which is Marco Miniman is from The Aristocrats, which is him, Brian Beller on bass, and Guthrie Govan on guitar, which is the main group that Guthrie Govan is actually known for, short of the internet. Like he basically got famous from other people posting videos of him on YouTube. Like he didn't have a channel, but everyone just started seeing him on YouTube. And he had the Aristocrats, he had some solo stuff, but it was like, and I think he played with Asia for a minute. But like there was never quite like a I never saw it as like, oh, he's from this band. Obviously, it's like, yes, he's in the Aristocrats, and yes, he has solo stuff, and he taught at the GIT, the Guitar Institute of Technology or something.
He's a Git.
Yeah. But it's so funny that he basically blew up on YouTube without having a channel, because he just did all these interviews and instructional stuff.
I've heard this guy's name. I couldn't point out a single thing.
And this is why. Yeah. When the Aristocrats is good, by the way. I like the Aristocrats. There's some cool stuff. But it's just a trio, instrumental trio. It's real good. Yeah. So
they're not the new the nuclear power trio, but with silly masks on, are they?
They're like the nuclear power trio without silly masks. The only silly masks they wear are their faces.
It's not like them rebranding themselves but putting on silly masks? Is it?
I don't think so. Just because of the composition, like sometimes there's like a keyboard player and stuff, but like they wouldn't need to rebrand themselves. Because my guess is the Nuclear Power Trio is probably not anybody we've heard of before. It's like
I would assume not either.
People suspect.
Once again, we're riding with the very irresponsible.
It's a brilliant. Or maybe like one of them. Oh wait. Hold on. They do have. Oh, never mind.
What?
They are members of other bands.
Oh, do we know who they are now? Did that come out?
Members of Elegaon, Havoc, and Cephalic Carnage, and Job for a Cowboy. So like none of the like Job for a Cowboy is maybe kind of they're not like huge. Bands. And I think I saw Elegaon or Legion or whatever on
Legion?
Or Legion. Yeah, I saw them on a bill a few years ago. I think they were decent, but yeah. So they're all in other bands, but like not like this is still is a brilliant gimmick because none of them are like huge. So. Sure. But it's a similar vibe. It's like, instrumental trio, them doing a lot of playing.
Well, you'd hope so.
Yeah, if you like that, you might enjoy some of the Aristocrats.
Okay, I will hunt that up. Sounds like a good time.
So it's a fun bonus topic,
especially if they can write slightly more varied songs, because that's the biggest problem with Nuclear Power Trio is they groove and they can play, but the songs are not very different.
I would say that you probably actually get a little more variation with the Aristocrats then. It's that kind of thing where like because of they've all actually I don't know who else Marco's played with, but I know Brian Beller has been in a bunch of stuff. He did some of the I think he did some of the latter Zappa stuff, and he played with Mike Keneally a bunch back in the day, who was previously in a Zappa band. And so like they're very versatile, and I know there's a good amount of like changing up the styles and stuff. So that's good.
Is everybody from the Zappa family tree band wise like not doing stuff anymore, or are they all too old? Well,
Dweezil was doing Zappa Plays Zappa a few years back. He had a pretty solid run of that. I think Vi was even on one leg of something. Or maybe just a one-off, but I saw a couple dates.
I assume Basio's pretty crusty at this point.
I'm not sure.
That's a hell of a drummer right there.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think if he actually played with any of the recent reunion ones. I don't know. He played with Dweezil. I don't think he. I don't. Oh, I don't think he ever. Maybe he did one. There was like a big one-off All-Star Zappa Plays Zappa.
Sure.
And then when he actually did tours, it was a little more of a mix of like a few, maybe some actual former Zappa people, but then some younger new people and whatever, and mostly just trying to play, interesting Zappa cuts. But that was solid. And Ike Willis was on one of the dates I saw. I also saw Ike Willis with Project Object at a much smaller venue. Project Object is another former Zappa member band who plays Zappa, featuring Ike Willis and let me look.
And some guys. And some
but like Ike Willis is one of my favorite singers of Zappa stuff, especially because Joe's Garage is like my favorite Zappa, and he is Joe in Joe's Garage. They did a lot of Joe's Garage when I saw them.
That makes sense.
It was real good. And I think, but the members, change like depending on who's available. But it looks like, at least currently, Denny Wally, I'm not sure what he plays, and Napoleon Murphy Brock, who is a singer and also flautist, a lot of classic stuff. That's in the current lineup anyway. But so that was another cool one I saw. But yeah, so like some of those guys are still around, and some of them are doing Zappa stuff. Mike Keneally,
72. Could he play Rush songs at 72? Terry.
Oh, if he's still playing.
That's.
I remember him doing something a few years back, but when you get up there, you can all of a sudden,
Oh yeah.
Suddenly
it goes to hell on
retire real fast. Compilation CD, last live solo thing in Japan in 2007.
2 years, 3 years older than Alex or Geddy. So.
I mean, I'm sure
similar. If he's not doing anything.
Oh, he played on the last thing it looks like he played on 2016 uh heavy metal bebop band tour with the Brecker brothers, I believe, who are like big jazz guys. I don't know if they actually ever. Oh, they've been on some Steely Dan. I know that's
Oh,
sometimes I forget
okay.
that
Well,
like that's
sure.
another. Zapp and Steely Dan both have those like pool of like every good musician who was available at the
Yeah,
time.
that's what I was kind of referring to when I
Because
said
I
like
almost
the
was like,
family
weren't they
tree is
Zappa?
the
Yeah,
everybody that was in these bands that the thing.
they're still around. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure I think he could do it. He has enough drums. He's known for having enough drums.
A hell of a kid. Yeah.
Seen his kid.
I don't know. I don't know if you give a shit. That's I don't think he's got anything to prove, but I don't think
Probably
anybody
not.
who could be playing this really has anything to prove at this point either. So I
Yeah.
think that's why we're suggesting them in the first place because they have proven themselves. Well, who should it be? So who's our pick?
Well, I mean, I think like, geez, I'm trying to think. Like, if you were trying to like bridge generations, and to be fair, old generations, older to slightly older, then I would say Portnoy
I would also say
would be the
Portnoy.
obvious. But I feel like there's got to be like Bozio would be closer, like you said, closer to their age. I'm trying to think who else would be closer to their age that would be good for it and is alive.
That's the one. Yep. I don't know. I'm
Because
not
like I
sure.
keep forgetting how long ago their farewell tour was. I saw it. It was great, but oh, R40 was the final concert tour, 2015. Okay, yeah. So like it's been a minute, and so I remember part of the other reason they were planning to pack it in. I thought Alex had some possible like arthritis issues, and so he
Oh,
wanted to
sure.
get it in while he could still play. But he is playing, and he works with like bands and stuff. He's been doing stuff. So if they're both doing stuff, I mean, I don't think it probably amazing if they released like a Rush album with just the two of them. But I don't also think they would actually do that.
That would
Like
surprise me.
that wouldn't really be in character, I don't think. And so I feel like if they do something, they will properly categorize it, and it'll be probably like I never got that into Geddy's solo album or Alex's solo album actually. Both of them I was kind of like,
I don't think I listened to either one.
but
So
like the two of them together, maybe something I would listen to slightly more than
sure.
those. I bought Geddy's solo album in Chicago. Because he was doing a signing. I waited in the cold in Chicago in February for like 2 hours to go purchase and get the fucking thing, and I listened to it like a couple times, and I was like, "Yep, that's Geddy Lee solo. All right, cool. Anyway,
Outstanding.
yeah,
God, that's terrible.
but we'll
So it should be
definitely
Portnoy.
we should
That's the gist. It should be Portnoy,
pretty
though, right?
much.
It
I
should be
think,
Portnoy.
yeah, I think it would be appropriate. It would be the appropriate like torch passing. Like I know some people say that he doesn't have the same. Like he doesn't on the sort of like more subtle jazzy side of things, like he doesn't quite, but that doesn't really matter because all he has to do is like repeat the stuff from the album. And so I know he can do
Right.
that.
Yep.
So I'm not sure like he's probably not going to play the rhythm method. But
Well, no,
that's
he's not trying to get
fine.
pregnant.
The name of the drum
I
solo.
I know.
And Neil,
It,
the last one anyway.
it's a very old
he would name his drum
reference,
solos
old joke.
various things. I think that's the only one with like an obvious like, but it was always cool because he kind of wrote like a little piece of music. It always sounded a little more like a piece of music than most people's drum solos. And he
Right.
started to use a lot of like triggers to like activate extra little to cheat and activates extra sounds and stuff. But that was always cool. It was one of the absolute like probably most consistently guy who you could be like, oh, the drum solo is starting, and not be like, oh, like, because
This fucking guy. Oh
even
God.
great bands, I'll still kind of be like, all right, well, okay, cool. He's a good, but like Neil was like, oh, the music is still happening,
Right.
which is honestly
Musical drummer. Imagine that. What a concept.
which is what John Petrucci should have done. When I saw them play the Images and Words tour, that was somehow boring. I assume because they played to a click. He did a guitar solo at some point, and I assume it was improvised because it was like badly improvised. It was
Ouch.
like
Oh,
he started slow and it got real fast. But clearly he was just like, all I got to do is start real slow. Little bluesy, little
do some
bluesy, pentatonic
Beatles.
scales, and then you build it up, and by the end you're doing, and that's a fucking guitar solo. No one would ever ask for anything more than that, even though you have 2 solo albums. I mean, I wouldn't want him to play his solo.
Oh, that'd be kind of douchey. Play your fucking like, solo material as a solo
they're full band songs. But like, if you're gonna play a solo guitar solo, I always thought it would be cool. At least pretend it's a piece of music, like Eruption. Eruption is still just a
I mean,
but people liked it so much he kept playing a sort of similar whack off guitar piece.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's better than that fucking guy from Sublime.
Oh right,
I
like
can play the guitar like a motherfucking right.
Plays the worst guitar solo you've ever heard. But my buddy Jamie, who I'm doing some gigs with, he plays that. I didn't. He had me play the solo there, but I didn't clear it ahead of time, so I didn't like sweep it. I was gonna but I played a real solo. I played
holy fuck,
500% better solo at least than the Sublime dude.
I can't play guitar, and I'm reasonably certain I could.
But I wanted to make a joke of it because it's got that line. I wanted to do some like Michael Romeo sweeps, like he's like says like right now like but I didn't clear the amusicality ahead of time. So instead, I just went. I was super tasteful about everything. Like Jamie appreciated some point like years and years ago. He said that like I gave him a compliment on his guitar solos, and he really appreciated it. So he returned the favor. He complimented like the tastefulness of my solos, and I was like, truly, Saint Luke has smiled on me tonight. But in my head, I wanted to be like, yeah, because you paid me. That's what you pay Steve Lukather. He plays real tasteful, like, and he doesn't go like. I'm like, maybe if anyone else had ever given me money, I'd be like, allow me to show you to the pocket. Like, as opposed to just like,
I got you, fam.
Whatever.
This is what you want?
You're not paying me. I play just what I feel. Sue me if I play too long.
Oh, God.
Anyway, yeah, you go. So,
I do get it.
Yeah, Rush. I'll always talk about Rush even if you don't want me to. Like, always.
It checks out. Rush, Zappa. Rush. Especially Zappa, especially if you don't want us to, which is
we should
always.
We should actually do some Zappa episodes at some point. It's always
probably true. I'm due for a good heavy review of all the Zappa material too. I know that you have listened extensively and probably don't need review.
But there's a ton I haven't even heard because there's so much. And what's worse is it's really hard to nail down the best stuff or the stuff that has the things you want, because he does a few different things. And like for me, I found several that I like a lot, and I was surprised to find like, oh, a lot of the times they're live albums. I think he's like the only artist in the world where I would be like, oh, the best stuff is actually mostly live albums. Almost anyone else, I don't care how good a live band they are. Like Rush is an amazing live band, and they have several really great live albums. I don't care. I don't listen to them because I don't want to hear like, I like shut up. I want the silence, the void of the studio. I'm a fan of recorded music.
Precision.
Yeah, I'm a fan of recorded music, 20th century multi-tracked.
I don't need to hear Karen in the background screaming some stupid bullshit.
Yeah. So more regular episodes. Like and subscribe. Leave us a comment or a review or rating or whatever is available on the platform. If there's a button you can click on the platform on which you're consuming this, you should click it.
Absolutely.
And then tell your friends.
Tell us who you think should be the drummer for Rush.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us why we're wrong.
I'm so bad.
We're not wrong. You're wrong. But try to tell us.
Let us know in the comments who you think should play.
Absolutely.
Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson.
And perhaps we'll get in the comments and continue to argue with you, because that's what this whole thing is really about. We just need to assert our opinion dominance.
Yeah, I try to get in there and let me say my famous catchphrase. I'm turning it off now.